Welcome back to the channel, Anthology enthusiasts. Coach over here, and on today's episode of Card Anthology, we're going to take a closer peek at the last expansion in the Mercadia block. This second small expansion would follow the first small expansion known as Nemesis, and would complete the 3-set block that started off with Mercadian Mask. So, let's fire up that intro and examine the expansion known as Prophecy. The Prophecy expansion was released on June 5th of the year 2000. This set would conclude the Mercadia block, and the set would be recognized by the symbol of 3 crystals, which reference the fragile, Risic magic of the set. William Jockish would be the lead designer, with contributions from Bill Rose and Mark Rosewater, with Charlie Catino leading the development team along with Mike Elliott, William Jockish, Paul Peterson, Henry Stern, T. Wood Woodruff, and Beth Merson. Dana Knudsen and Ron Spears would be the art directors for this expansion. The total size of the set was 143 cards, which consisted of 55 commons, 44 uncommons, and 44 rares. The set was sold in 15 card booster packs and had the artwork of Avatar of Hope, which was also the set's pre-release card. The Fat Pack would also accompany the expansion along with the 4 pre-constructed theme decks, which consisted of the Mono Green Pummel deck, the Red and Green Slither deck, the Blue and White Turnaround deck, and the Black and White Distress deck. The novel Prophecy was also released around this time. New themes came out of this expansion, such as the Risic Magic theme. Risic Magic were discounted spells and abilities that work properly unless a specific player pays a set amount of mana. You also had the Anti-Rebel theme, which were cards that negatively affected the Rebel creature type. Cards associated with this theme were the cards Brutal Suppression and Rebel Informer. The storyline of Prophecy occurs on the original plane of Dominaria, which is the home world of the brothers Urza and Mishra, along with one of the future planeswalkers, Liliana Vess. The warrior nation of Keld has declared war on the nation of Jamura in order to reclaim the resource Tufa. Also known as Hero's Blood, this resource is a type of fossil fuel that can run large machines. In response to this declaration of war, the city-states of Jamura formed the alliance, the Kipamu League, in order to fight off and repulse the invaders. There were a total of 3 vertical cycles, along with 6 standard cycles. The first vertical cycle is called Glittering Cats, which were white creatures that had a prevent all damage ability, along with a mana cost ability that could temporarily remove the effect. The cards Glittering Lynx and Glittering Lion were cards that were a part of this vertical cycle. The other vertical cycles, Spiketail Drakes and Brawlers, were also part of this expansion. The Spiketail Drakes, such as Spiketail Hatchling, could be sacrificed to counter a target spell unless the controller paid a certain amount of mana, while the Brawlers, such as Veteran Brawlers, had the 2 static abilities that affected the creature to attack or block depending on if and who had untapped land. Moving on to the standard cycles, there were the Flash Orbs, which were common enchantments that could be played as an instant. 2 cards part of this cycle were the cards Magetta's Boon and Alexi's Cloak. The next cycle were the Field Orbs, which were enchantments that gave a land an activated ability. The cards Sunken Field and Noxious Field were involved in this cycle. You had the uncommon pitch spells that had an alternate casting cost that could be played by discarding a basic land associated with that card's color. Cards such as Outbreak and Flame Shot were part of this cycle. After that, you had the Avatar cycle, which were converted 8-cost creatures with a static ability to reduce the casting cost by 6 if certain conditions were met, along with another ability depending on the avatar. Avatar of Might and Avatar of Hope were 2 cards part of this cycle. The last cycle was the legendary spell Shapers, which were creatures that had an activated effect along with costing 2 cards for a decently powerful effect. The cards Magetta the Lion, Alexi Zephyr Mage, Griel Mindraker, Latula Keldon Overseer, and Jolriel Empress of Beast were all part of this set. Prophecy would have no true or functional reprints and only had 2 mirrored pairs. One pair were the Charmers and were 2/2 creatures that had a triggered ability upon dealing damage to a creature unless the other creature's controller paid 2 generic mana. The card pair was Soul Charm and Death Charm. The other pair was called the Informers, which were creatures that couldn't be the target of certain spells and had the mana ability to put a mercenary or rebel creature into the bottom of target player's library. The cards were called Mercenary Informer and Rebel Informer. There were only a few notable cards out of the Prophecy set. You had the card Spiketail Hatchling, that was a blue 1/1 flyer that could be sacrificed to counter a spell unless that card's controller paid 1 generic mana. You had the card foil that could counter target spell with the alternate casting cost of discarding an island. Chimeric Idol, which is an artifact, could become a 3/3 creature until the end of turn if you tapped all of your lands. You had Magetta the Lion, which is a rare spell shaper that could essentially be mana activated to destroy all creatures except itself. And lastly, the card Avatar of Woe. This creature had 6 power and 5 toughness, but came with a cost of 8 converted mana. If 10 or more total creatures were in all graveyards, then the total mana cost of this creature was just 2 black mana. Avatar of Woe had the Fear keyword and could be tapped to destroy a target creature. However, most of these notable cards would not be used in a standard professional competition. On top of that, very few cards in the Prophecy set were effective in the limited format. Mark Rosewater would later voice his opinion that this set was the second worst designed in all of the MTG history, with the expansion Homelands topping the worst set category. A sealed booster box of Prophecy is worth around $200. So that is all you need to know about the Prophecy expansion set. If you were entertained by this Card Anthology episode, make sure to hit up that like button, leave us a comment to strike up a discussion with us, and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so yet. Follow us on Twitter and the MTG Amino app for more information about the channel, and message us to talk about the future projects that we have in store. Make sure you also check out Nizzahon's top 10 over the Nemesis expansion, along with checking out the rest of his channel as well. Our next Card Anthology episode will be over the expansion set Invasion, so be on the lookout for that episode and watch it when it is officially released. Thank you everybody for watching this episode of Card Anthology, even though it was technically over a set that was truly just outright terrible. I hope you guys enjoyed it anyway. This is Coach, and I will see you guys next time.